Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzy,
Hello.
and we are going to talk about Star Wars. There is some news,
Yeah.
just a little bit of news, and then we'll talk about the latest episode of Andor, which was awesome.
Yes.
But we'll get into that in a bit. So, last weekend or 2 weekends ago, I guess now, there was a New York City Comic Con. I did not go. I'm very far away. Also, I usually don't go to New York Comic Con, but
I am not very far away, but I did not go.
yeah, but it happened. There wasn't, I feel like we got a lot of our Star Wars announcements from D23 and Celebration already this year, but we did get some book and comic announcements that were pretty cool. So there's a Lucasfilm Publishing panel. We know we're getting a novel called Rise of the Red Blade by Delilah S. Dawson, I think, about an Inquisitor. She is like kind of in the background of like Vader comics, from what I understand. Yes, Delilah S. Dawson. Iskat is her name. Iskat? I don't know. Iskat? I don't know. It's her name. She's a Jedi survivor of Order 66 that turns to the dark side and becomes an Inquisitor. And we'll get to know more about her in this book. I'm very excited. Delilah S. Dawson also wrote Phasma, so we know she can really, really do a good villain story for Star Wars.
Phasma was so good. Have we done an episode on Phasma yet?
I don't
Because
think
I will
so. We
talk
don't
for
really do.
days.
We haven't really done book episodes because you don't read that many books.
But I did read
We can.
Phasma.
Well, when Andor ends and we have less going on, we can do a Phasma episode. She
Okay.
also wrote Black Spire, which, while not really a villain story, is still a very good Star Wars book.
I also read that.
You just read Delilah S. Dawson.
Yeah.
It's
important.
So I'm very excited for an Inquisitor book. It's gonna be great. I think Inquisitors are pretty neat. I hope she uses her lightsaber as a helicopter the entire time.
Travel.
Yeah.
To go to work.
Lightsaber copters are the best. We also are now, they announced a Sonastaros comic book miniseries. I think Sonastaros is cool. I've only really known her from the Afra audiobook. I'm not up on the comics. I'm almost done reading all the books, so maybe I'll do it after. We're also getting some Star Wars, they're called Star Wars Revelations comics. I believe it was like a mini. Let me look. I lost it. Yeah, so it's some one shots with some cool covers. You have cover of Afra, cover of Vader fighting someone, a cover of a bug on Vader's helmet in lava, and a cover of some classic bounty hunters. I don't know what they're about, but covers look pretty neat. They also announced a High Republic Chronicles of the Jedi reference book and a High Republic Lightsabers collection reference book. So like the High Republic, I like Jedi, and I like reference books. So
yes,
really up my alley. They also showed some new pages from Star Wars Timelines, which is a book they announced a little while ago. It was a huge project putting together all of the books and shows and movies and TV shows and everything into one big timeline, like a huge, big, basically database. I can't imagine how huge this book is going to be. It's like very thick, I'm sure. And also very helpful, and also will probably almost immediately get outdated as soon as the next thing comes out after it. But it's helpful. Well, still very helpful.
yes.
And they also announced a book that I think is really interesting called Star Wars Objects. So it's basically, it was not in this article, but I saw it described as almost like walking through a museum of Star Wars things. Like if you were in the Star Wars universe and you walked through a museum and it had the object there and then like a little blurb about it. And I love history museums like that. So I'm very excited for this book. It seems like a museum, a somewhat random gathering of objects based on what they could recover. So like the page that they showed from the book was Yoda's little like panpipe thing that he wears around his neck on Dagobah. And it's just like a picture of it and like a little blurb about it, like you would see in the museum. And I think that's really cool.
Yes. Immersive.
Yes, that's what I like. I actually just wrote an article on StarWarsGeek.com about in-universe books like that I would like to see if you want to read it. Promo.
promo of our own promo.
Yes. So it was the Lucasfilm Publishing panel. And then there was also a High Republic panel because we're going into phase 3 of the High Republic now, or phase 2. Phase 2, which takes place before phase 1. So we got a book. It's by Lydia Kang called Cataclysm, starring Axel Greylark.
Axel?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. You click on the link on the notes and look at the picture of Axel. He has a purple lightsaber and very fancy clothes and a little blaster.
Mm-hmm.
I went to see that costume done by no one in particular. There's also another book by Tessa Gratton called Quest for Planet X, and it's High Republic, but it looks like it's going to be on Batuu. So we'll get to see Batuu hundreds and hundreds of years. Yeah, we'll get to see Batuu hundreds and hundreds of years before the theme park takes place, which is pretty cool. We got to see some stuff from a book by Kevin Scott called Path of Vengeance. So it doesn't come out till May, but it looks the cover is gorgeous. I think probably one of my favorite Star Wars book covers ever. It looks super cool. There's that. We got to see there's some like concept art and things. There's a little book called Yoda and the Younglings. It has Yoda and Buryaga. Unfortunately, it takes place before a certain book, so it is not a confirmation that a certain character is alive. And okay, it just takes place before. But it looks really cute. The art is adorable. They're going to do a one-shot comic called Quest of the Jedi. We see some Jedi looks like they're on a boat in a very tumultuous ocean. We're getting phase 2 of the Edge of Balance manga, which is a sequel to I did read that one because I got it on Free Comic Book Day.
Yay!
I read part of it. I don't know if that was the thing. And then finally, and this is what I was most excited about, is they're doing an anthology book of different High Republic stories, which I'm really excited for because I love all the anthology books that Star Wars has put out. I think they've all been really cool. And I like a short story. So I'm really excited to see some High Republic short stories.
Yes, I have not read a good amount of this, but I like the art pictures that are in here because they're really cool. I also just really, really like the look of concept art in general. I think it's really cool. And if I could master any kind of art, it would just be any type of concept art. Just like messy, but like you can see it and the idea is there and it's just so pretty. And yeah, that's it. I also like the purple lightsaber. Very nice. His clothes are very regal too. Very nice.
Yes. Yeah, I know apparently Axel Greylark is in some other things before. I'm assuming comics because I haven't read him yet. Or maybe I have and I just don't remember. But he's getting his own book.
Nice.
Oh my god. No, I know who he is. He's the Chancellor's son. It says it right here. Okay. Now I know who he is. Ding dong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad is screaming in the car, listening.
I'm sure he is. So yeah, Axel Greylark. I like his fancy little outfit. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. The detail is nice.
Yeah. I guess that's all the New York City Comic Con news. Lots of really awesome things for book and comic fans to look forward to. I guess other people don't care, but I care.
Well, I
Very
think
much.
a lot of people care. That's why they're still making them.
I'm just saying if they're not, I'm saying good for book and comic fans, people who aren't those.
Mm.
You know, not saying that there's not a lot of book and comic fans.
Mm.
Just not everybody is one. Though they should be.
Yes.
You should read Star Wars.
Yes, I've read. I think I can count on my fingers how much I've read. But I did read all the Afro comics. Well, almost all of them. A good amount of them. Oh, this is the Phasma thingy, her audiobook, which was not really an audiobook, like audio drama. That was good. I was crying in class. It's like listening to that, and then also because I was in class, and when I was listening to it, I was in a pantry, and I was supposed to be the server doing all the coffee and like tea and cappuccino orders and stuff. So I was just like sitting there, or not sitting there, but like standing there crying, making a cappuccino, listening to Afra. But yeah, it's an experience. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all New York Comic Con news. Now we can get into Andor episode 6. Spoiler-free thoughts. It was amazing. It tied it tied everything that's been setting up together so well. There were things I expected and things I didn't expect. And there were just it was just so good.
Yes.
I was just like because I stayed up till midnight to watch it, and I was like I finished it, and I just sat there on the couch for like 20 minutes, like processing. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
That
a
was a
lot
lot.
happened. And
Also, Susanna White,
very good.
incredible director. I want her to do more Star Wars. Every time we hand the director's chair to a woman in Star Wars, it always turns out beautiful, and I think we need to keep doing
We should
it.
keep doing it. Yeah, continue it. Yeah, I thought spoiler free, it was, yeah, it was a lot. It was cool though. I like there were so many times where I would like, just like outwardly just gasped because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like it was, and then it also made me, well, I guess in a way it made me appreciate Vel more as a character too, especially the responsibilities of being a leader and like a lot of things
Team
happening.
Vel
Yeah,
forever.
well, I'm not Team Vel, but like,
I'm
she's
Team Vel
cool. I like her.
forever.
Never disliked her, but also being a leader is scary. Um, especially in times like these. But yeah, I thought it was very good. I'm still trying to get Chef at my job to watch it like he is, but he can't talk about it because I'm like, oh, hey, Chef, like, did you watch Andor? Did you watch the latest episode? And he's like, I watched Andor. And I was like, okay, what, what does that mean? And he's like, I watched, like, I don't know, explain it to me. And I was like, how far? He was like, 3 episodes. And I was like, okay, well, Cassian shot some police guys. He's on the run and he escaped the off planet. And he was like, yeah, it was really good. And just left. And I was like, all right, well, okay. Hopefully he keeps watching it. But yeah, it's fun. So it's a good show. I recommend all the time. Yeah. I think my mom is slowly liking it too. And Axel. So that's also good.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where the show goes from here. This was such a fantastic midway point for the season, for sure. I was so excited. I love this show so much. I think I can. At first, I was like, man, I think that might be my favorite of all the series, but I'll wait until it's done. I'm not waiting anymore. It's top. It's top of the Star Wars live action series. It's above Mando.
Yes.
And I love Mando. Don't get me wrong. Love Mando. This is above that for me. For me. Everyone's got their opinion.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I think it's cool. I think it's neat. I also like it a lot to the point where I'm just like, yeah, Andor. I like it. It's my favorite. um yeah. And I'm excited to see more of it and just more of Andor specifically and the other characters, but Andor is like top tier. But yeah.
Yeah. Great show.
Yeah.
And we'll get into
Spoilers.
spoilers now. Yeah. So the episode starts like kind of right before they're getting ready to like get in position and for their plan to steal the monies.
Yes.
We also see an Imperial Commandant who trash. Very like, oh yeah, and he's like just talking about like terrible things they're doing to these people. It's like, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm so over exploiting these people. It's like, bro.
So tired of committing genocide and stuff.
It's so boring. I want to go to like
boring.
a fancier world where I can commit fancier genocide.
Yeah. Don't you ever feel like that, Zoe? Like you just get bored with your life and tormenting people. You need more than
I
just
torment like
mediocre
new
tormenting.
people. These people like I'm so over tormenting them. I need to find new people to torment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and his family, I was gonna say his family are jerks, but they didn't really do anything.
They were, yeah, I mean his wife was like fine. Yeah, I mean
His wife fat shamed him a little bit, but
she's married, yeah, but but she's like, she's married to Imperial, high ranking Imperial. She's benefiting. But yeah, but like as a person, like just on her personal actions in the episode, I was like, oh, you're fine. He was, to be fair, he was like mean to his son. He was
yeah.
like, he's old enough to dress himself. Come help me get dressed.
Yeah, literally. I was like, wait. Yeah, that was funny. And then um just like he just is talking about like how he doesn't like the people of Aldani and like this is later but like technically the same room but he's like yeah they're stinky and I'm like oh you jerks that like how dare you but that was fun he's a jerk and he's a jerk.
Yeah. So the Imperials are like, they're like, oh, like everything has to go perfect tonight. Like, like the pilgrims are coming up, making a pilgrimage across the mountains to watch the eye here, because I guess this is the best place to view it. And they are talking about like, oh, we set up little rest stations along the path of the pilgrimage so that like more of them just like give up, I guess, and just go to the rest station and not make the whole trek.
Mm-hmm.
This engineer is still coming. They want to impress him. Meanwhile, so Vel and Cinta are broken off from the rest of the group. And they're like communicating, getting in place. Vel
like,
and
I feel like they didn't like them keeping it from Cassian. Like I feel like there wasn't like, not that they didn't do anything. They definitely did. They did a lot. But like it it was a weird thing to keep from Cassian. Like it's not like they did anything like, I don't know. I have no idea. I think it was weird to keep that little information from him.
I think it was just like, that same thing that like Hera and Sabine and Rebels. It's like no, it's not a bad thing if they knew this. It's more like,
is it necessary?
It's another, yeah, it's not necessary, and it's another thing he could potentially give up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because like what if they got captured early on in the mission? Like that's already bad. Now what if they get tortured and they're like, oh, our comrades are in this place, they're going to do this, you know what I mean? Like they don't know that, they can't say it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yes, I thought it was, I like their little suits, their little swimsuits.
I like their little mission.
Yeah.
Theirs was a lot more fun. They got to like swim and climb up the wall and like set the there weren't like bombs, but the like, things like disrupt the communications.
I thought they could have killed the guy, like on top of there, like they could have.
Yeah, but then either there's now like either someone's gonna come by and be like, hey, that guy's missing, or they're gonna find a body.
Well, that's why the water's there. Just flip him on into the water.
Right, but then he's missing. Then they're like, where'd that guy go?
Maybe they could write a note and be like, I went to watch the eye.
But then they're gonna
I don't know.
Get him in trouble.
I think
they wanted to be undetected.
I know, but they could have. I feel like they could have. Like it probably wouldn't have. I don't know.
I think that would have gone terribly.
Not terribly, but I don't think they would go to
they had
search.
Patrols. They had patrols over that wall. The first time someone patrols after they do that, they're gonna find the dead body and be like, "Hey, that guy's supposed to be like someone's supposed to be here."
I guess, but also this big event is happening, and the general himself is like, "Oh, you want to go watch the eye? Sure, I guess."
Well, yeah, but those are like the loading people. This is a little communication thing that someone's supposed to be in. Like all those little communication things had a person in them.
Yes, I think they could have possibly.
I think it would have. I think
depending on the circumstances,
they would have gotten. I mean, it already didn't go well, but they would have gotten caught sooner.
Well, but would the people think, oh yeah, they're totally in this little area right now? Like they would have to search the entire place first, rather than the guy being like, "Yeah, are you in the freighter?"
Yeah, but because if they couldn't find that guy, then they would have sent another person to go take that spot, because that's the thing that needs to be manned. They wouldn't have just left it, and all that would have done was alerted them sooner that something's up.
I guess I would have just probably, as a stormtrooper, been like, well, he probably went to go look at it, because wasn't that also the guy that was slacking off all the time anyway?
I don't remember, but
I think
they still like then he would have been like, hey, someone's missing. They got like a whole military like structure going on.
I think that one guy, the commander that was working with the rebels, could have been like, yeah, go on break. Like been up there or something and been like, oh, I told him to go on break. Because
then they would have been like, hey, Gorn, why did you leave that spot unmanned?
You're like, I don't know. I just forgot.
They would have gotten in trouble. Empire's so strict.
I don't know. I think they could have gotten away with it.
No.
It would have been a whole Among Us situation, but
I think, oh my goodness. Also, bodies float. They don't come in the water.
But it's nighttime and they're wearing gray.
I guess, but I'm sure they have like floodlights they can point and look around.
Could have tied rocks to him and then I don't know. Anyway.
Also, then that's more time they have to spend up there.
Probably. But anyway, I just think it's funny because like then there's a shot of like her running and like you can see her in the distance running away and while he's like talking to someone or like trying to figure out why it's all messed up. And I think it's really funny. Because like he could have turned just a little bit. He would have saw her. But no, he did not.
They don't got the peripheral vision.
No.
Yeah, Vel and Cinta, their little thing. The other guys, so Cassie and Nemec, Skeen, and Taramin. I can never remember how to say his name.
Tamarin.
Taramin.
It's like
Taramin.
tamarind, but not with the D.
Taramin. Taramin.
Yes.
So they like message, they're like messaging back and forth, and Belle is like really nervous, and she like doesn't really want to message and confirm to go ahead because she's like, this could go bad, But Cinta's like, come on, you gotta do it. Love Cinta, by the way. I want a Cinta everything. I want a Cinta and Belle book, to be honest.
Yes.
I think that'd be really great. Yeah. So they go through, and then Gorn has them walk in to the base thing. The comms are down now because of Vel and Cinta. They go down. Meanwhile, there's also a little ceremony between the Aldani people and the commandant, and they like trade goat hides and then burn them. So that's when he's like, "Oh, the goat hide is stinky." But to be fair, I mean, I've never smelled a goat hide, but I've smelled a goat, and they are pretty stinky when they're alive. I can't imagine it gets better after death. So I'll give them that. That does probably smell, but you gotta respect it, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that's like my chef at school. He was not great. Thankfully he's gone, but it's okay. He like it reminded me very much of he taught cuisines of Asia. He was not Asian. He somehow was teaching it, but whatever. He basically was teaching it, and then anytime there was like a food he didn't like, he would like just be super racist and then just be like, yeah, like I was cutting like beef for pho, and he was like, yeah, things that Vietnamese people eat are like they stink and they're awful and disgusting. And I was like, what? And I was like, don't say that. Don't. Just, go away. I'll teach myself. So it's like it's the little stuff like that I'm like, oh, you jerks. But yeah, like I get it. Like could probably is stinky, but like it's a tradition and it's something that these people think is important or like is important for them. So it's like a thing where you like very much Cobb Vanth. Like where he's like drinking the water and then he hates it and he spits it out and throws it on the ground. And then it's very disrespectful to the Tuscans. Like they offered that to him. He's being disrespectful towards it. So I thought that was interesting to show. And then also because he just like they just went and burnt it because and like after trying to insult the empire, but then Gorn didn't translate the correct meaning. But yeah, the whole thing was very tense but very, very cool. And I like all of the Aldani people's clothes. They're very nice and they look very warm. Yeah, fun times. They're all very differently colored too, which is all so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love their outfits. Want to see a whole group of Aldanis at celebration.
Yeah, just Aldani groups.
Yep. In London, they have to do winter celebrations, so it'll keep you warm and you won't just be really hot.
Yeah. You can't do it in California though.
No,
you'll overheat.
Not a California. Do like a Chicago is cold. It snowed at Celebration Chicago. You can do that. Just like a little bit. Yeah, so they have a little ceremony and then they go into like the base thing. And once they're in, the troops, aka Cassian, Ski, Nemec, and Terriman, all guns up and are ambushing them. And then the one guy, the colonel, he points a gun at Nemec and he's like, "Hey, you release because it's like the commandant and his family and stuff." And Cassian's like, "Hey, no one needs to die." And then Cinta shows up and she shoots him, and it's great. Love Cinta.
Yes,
Number one Cinta fan.
I agree. My
And
dad
Gorn is just
asked a
outside and
question.
he's like, "Hey guys, just chill."
My dad asked a question of, do you think Cinta killed the family?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think. Well, I'm not like 100% either way, but I could. I don't know, because some people are like, "Oh no, she would never." I'm like, I think she could.
Yeah, I don't think she would never, but I think she could. I think she
I'm
has the
not. I'm.
capabilities.
Yeah, I think like either way, if it, I don't know if they're gonna make it explicit or not, because just because there was a kid involved, I could see them letting that be a little dubious. Um, so I'm not sure if they like necessarily confirm it either way, but if they do confirm it either way, I could be like, yeah, like that makes sense,
Yeah.
you know? Because I mean, ultimately, here's the thing: all of those, everyone in that room, all the hostages saw all of their faces. None of their faces were covered. And they mostly saw Cinta's face. And Cinta was the one that was in there with them for a while.
Hmm.
So, you know.
I think after Vel's comment, I don't think she did. When Vel like was talking to the jerk Imperial, and the Imperial was like, "You're just gonna kill us anyway. Why would I help you?" And then she says like, "Well, no, that's what you would have done though, right?"
That's
I
true.
think I I would hope that she didn't because of that, but also
Mm-hmm.
I would understand. I would totally
Yeah,
get it. I
I can
wouldn't be
see
like,
that point. I can see that point.
Cinta. No, I'd be like, okay.
You know,
Like I'm on the
see,
hill, but like if the other hill is there, I'll move.
I can sled. I can go between them. Um, yeah, I could see it either way. I hope she didn't. But and the other thing is they do characterize a little bit, like they mentioned, like when Cinta's family was killed by stormtroopers. So when she found out Terriman was a stormtrooper, she got a hint that she had like a big reaction. So clearly she has like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. But
She has a streak in
also,
her possibly, but we'll see. I have to,
yeah,
as an Anakin
it's
fan, I can't get mad at people for killing kids. So,
I I I don't mind it. I don't care much. But also like yeah, it would just depend on Cinta because we know her, but we don't know her. So like, it's kind of like a Riva thing. Like, do I kill like the people, or like do I kill because other people killed my family,
mm,
or do I just, don't do that? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Either way, I
It's a thing.
think Andor has the ability to explore it very well, whichever they go with. Um,
Yes.
I hope she didn't kill him, but she could have, and I won't. I'll still be
Won't be
number one
mad.
Cinta fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Um,
yeah, that's
but
later though.
yes. But yeah, they go. Cinta comes and
So Vel,
shoots the guy.
yeah, she shoots the guy, and Vel and Cinta come in. I was like, yeah, here we go. So they, get them all hostaged up. And then they're like, okay, to the commandant. They're like, okay, his name's Behaz. It's this very silly little name. I like it. They're like, all right, Behaz, like you're gonna take us to the vault and blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, I can't open it. Like, you need a special. And she's like, no, we know how it works. We know, like,
We know
don't lie to
exactly
us.
how
Which,
it be.
props to him. That was a pretty good bluff.
I would
I
have
give him
still
props for
taken him.
trying. No, I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I mean, good try, man. I feel like, like Phasma just did it. Back to Force
Yeah.
Awakens. Phasma just did it.
Yeah, Phasma was like, yeah, sure.
So, at least he tried to like lie and be like, I can't.
Mhm.
Um. Anyway, so then Val and Biaz have that little conversation you mentioned, and then so Cinta is staying with the hostages, and Val is very worried. It's very cute. Um,
Yes.
she's like, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me.
They hold hands.
They do. That's cute. So then they go to the vault. And they use some explosives to help get them in, and then also because they need like his like
Hand, I'm
hand.
pretty
Yeah, they need
sure.
his hand. I think it was his hand. And then there's like some other locks that they just blow up. You know, that works.
Yeah.
um, and so there's like a whole bunch of Imperials in there. Um,
They were
and
catering. They had like little snacks.
they did, yeah.
I felt
They were
so
just
bad.
chilling.
I was like,
Um,
no, don't shoot
but
him.
they break up the party and force them at gunpoint to help load the ship uh with the monies. It was like giant like cylinders with tons and tons of credits.
You like a crap ton.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, so that one guy that they didn't kill because it would have made things go even worse, uh, intercepts their transmissions. Which really, that's on Namek. Come on, man. All the other Star Wars characters use secure channels. Just
Yeah.
do your thing.
Also, they like, I mean, even Cassian was taught like don't have things on missions that you can't
Right.
control. Like that was like
We
lesson
needed
one.
Luth in
Like
here
what
to whip these
happened?
kids into shape. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Like they did
so
it, but
he
like at what
intercepts their
cost?
transmission and figures out like where they are, and there's something going on. So a bunch of Imperial infantry soldiers and this corporal like start going to the vault. Then Gorn comes in, and there's a second where the commandant is like, "Oh, Gorn's here." Then he realizes Gorn is with the rebels.
Yeah.
He's like, "You'll hang for this." And Gorn's like, "I worked for you for 7 years. I deserve worse." Ooh,
Ooh, ouch.
ooh. I love Gorn a lot. I like all the
Yes.
Adani rebels except Skeen.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
We'll
But
get there.
yeah. I also just didn't
Um,
like skiing much before anyway.
no, never. I didn't was never a huge Skeen fan. So then the other guy and his soldiers come, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And Gordon's like, "Oh, it's a confidential mission. Like,
Yeah, go back to
don't
your post.
don't worry about it. I got it under control. It's
It's
not
the
your
Empire stealing credits for the Empire. Just
yeah,
just
like it's
go with
none of your
it's
business,
cool.
man." And then he turns to the commandant and he's like, "Right, man? Like, right?" With the subtle undertone of "We're gonna kill your family if you don't go along." And then
Yeah.
the guy
And
just
then
like
he just died. Like so I'm laughing about it, but he literally just dropped. That was
yeah,
it. There was no warning.
it's done. It says here in Wikipedia, he collapses from exhaustion caused by hard labor. Which is kind of funny. Yeah, he's like, right, man. And it was a very different context, but it did remind me a little bit of an Empire when Yoda's like, "Is Darth Vader my father?" And Yoda's like, "I'm going to bed." Like, same energy.
See ya. But yeah, I thought it was funnier because like I just in my head all I saw was like right, and then him just asterisk dies.
Yeah,
Just gone.
it was very funny. Very shocking. But yeah, and so then there's a little blaster fight. Gorn goes down. R.I.P. Cassian gets some good shots in, and then they get into Cassian goes into the cockpit to get ready to fly off, and then this Imperial just like jumps on him and starts choking him out.
Yes. That I I didn't like, so like, because Cassian was like, telling them to keep working, blah blah blah, and that guy just gave him the nastiest look, and I was like, I don't like you. You're up to nothing good. And like it didn't cut to him for a while, and then like I saw like it then shot it did, film lingo, it did the thing, and it showed him, and I was like, I knew it. You're gonna kill him. Don't you dare touch him. And then he did, and then Nemec shot him. But yeah, I thought I was, yeah, Nemec, poor Nemec. Nemec deserves the best in
We'll
life.
get there. We'll get there.
I know.
Nemec shoots the guy. And then Terriman's like, Skeen, cover me. And Skeen doesn't, and he dies too.
Again, like I said on my dad's podcast, if you're in a mission with Andor and you say, "Hey, cover me," the guy's not going to cover you very good. Like
It was very much
it's not
that
gonna
guy in
happen.
Rogue One who's like
Yes,
going
cover
for
me. I
the
got
button.
this.
He's going for the button. He's like, cover me, and he didn't even
Dies.
like move. He like got out of cover. Just
Yeah.
I mean,
Pretty
to
much.
be
So
fair,
don't do that on an Andor
I
mission.
always think this when I'm playing Scarif from Battlefront 2. I'm like, it really doesn't matter who wins because we're all dying in Scarif, you know. Yeah, so Velen, Skeen, and Nemec all get on the ship. And then Cassian wants it, and we get to see the Eye after it was hyped up for 2 episodes, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
I wasn't really
I
sure
was
what to
horrified of it.
expect. It was scary. Like once they were flying in it, I was like, "Oh, this is terrifying." But like just seeing it from down below, I was like, "This is like, I want to see that in real life." It was gorgeous. I wasn't sure what to expect. Like I knew it was like a sky thing, but I didn't know like what. But absolutely beautiful. 10 out of 10. Um, so as they're flying up, it's kind of shaky. There's the giant things. Some TIE fighters end up chasing them, and they Cassian's in the pilot seat, but no one else. See, this is why you need to wear your seatbelt and sit down. They all fly back when Cassian's going up. And there's a bump, and it was hard to watch. I can still hear it.
Yeah, okay, really quick, because I was horrified of the Eye, because I saw it, and like, in the beginning of the episode, it like shows one going by, and it's loud, and it's like horrifying. I thought something was crashing, and then I was like, oh, it's the Eye. Okay. And then the actual, like, the Eye happened, and I was like, oh my God, there's many things. Like, I think if I was just a visitor and I had no idea, like no one told me like, oh, there's this cool thing that happens, I would think that the world was slowly ending for that little world. But it was very pretty. And yeah, and then when they were flying in there, and then Cassian was like, hang on, and no one hung on.
Yeah.
And like I saw him on the floor.
I need a seatbelt.
Well, there's no seatbelt on the floor.
I should have sat in the seat. Just saying.
Yeah. He like was on the floor, and I was like, he's fine, right? He's up against that thing. And then it like started slowly moving, and that's where I was like, it's just smushed him. And I thought it was gonna completely smush him, like face and all. Like I thought he was just kind of like splatted, but like it just crushed his whole bones.
It was, yeah, the sound design was sickening.
I need to
There's
know what they used to mimic the bone crushing of Nemec.
yeah, there's one other there's a scene in Rogue One. It's not to the same caliber, but it's when the Star Destroyers are crashing into each other and get the one interior shot, and there's an Imperial officer that hits his head on the wall, and it's like that similar sound, just like that instant is very like, ugh.
Yeah,
I mean, very well
like
done by the Foley team.
I was
But
surprised that they were gonna make him die from it.
I mean,
Like,
that's a big.
well, yeah, but like, literally, when Nemec shot the guy, I don't know what is in those blasters, but he only got shot in the arm and he died. I'm confused.
Listen,
What does the blaster do that just
the
insta
blaster,
kills?
the blaster
Also
is the
doesn't.
same. Blasters work the same as light speed. They do what and when they need to when it's what the plot requires.
Gotcha. Because I would understand if you got like a headshot like that, that'd probably be bad. But like it was
Probably.
like directly on the arm because I saw it and I was like, oh, his arm is gonna go numb or something. No, he just died. He's just dead.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
I guess. But
It
yeah,
was he
plot holes, I guess.
he rolled
Gosh.
it was just, sometimes you just run out of hit points. Doesn't matter where you got hit, takes your hit points.
Yeah. Yeah, he was at 1 HP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he got crushed. And then, Cassian was like, okay, we need to take him to a doctor, right? That's like the logical solution. And then Vel, I still like Vel. I understood what she was trying to do, but Vel was like, no, like we have to finish the mission. And then Skeen, which my dad pointed out, like, I thought it was to actually help Nemec. Because Skeen was like, okay, yeah, there's a doctor over here. But it was just so he could talk to Andor and be like, yeah, let's escape. There's a few moons down. Like, let's just go. Which is sucky. But yeah, so they end up going to save Nemec, even though they did not save Nemec.
Yeah, well, they escaped. It was really. I do want to give a shout out to the flying scene. Was really cool, and how they like Cassian like maneuvers the TIE fighters, and I don't think he fired a shot. I don't think they had cannons. But he manages to outmaneuver them. It's pretty cool.
I thought it was cooler than the Kessel Run.
And Nemec they do manage to sit Nemec up so he can put the coordinates in that they need for the flight path to get out of the eye safely.
Yeah. My dad I'm gonna give him credit. One, because I don't know the other guy's name, but two, because my dad said that he tried to say it before, but then the other guy podcasted before him anyway, so he yeah. So Nemec, like his last words technically was climb.
I saw people say this on Twitter.
Yeah, was climb, and like
that was one last thing.
That was the last thing that K2SO said to Andor as well. And my dad broke my heart that day.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that was because I was like I said, like I watched the episode and I was just like wow, like it was so like, this show is just blowing me away every week. But I like opened Twitter and that was like, so I saw people tweeting about that and I was like, oh my god. There's you stay up late for Andor, you watch it, and there's a contemplation period, and then you can go to bed. Yeah, man. So Nemec does manage to have one last act of valor. So they get to a doctor on Fresno, which I think is, I don't know why, I think it's just funny. It's like Fresno, Nevada. They get to the planet Fresno, Spelled
Fresno.
differently, I think, from Fresno.
Like Fresno chilies?
Yeah,
Ah.
or Fresno, California. Sorry, not Nevada.
I know Fresno chilies.
I know the city.
I know foods. That's it. That's all I
Uh,
know.
yeah. So they go to his name. It's so it's I Star Wars names.
Yeah?
Sometimes his name is Dr. Quad Paw and he has 4 arms. Like, come on. That's like
That's
that's
like
like
Captain Hook.
it's like Therm Scissor Punch 2.
To me, that's more like a Captain Hook kind of situation.
I don't know, Scissor Punch with the scissor hands. Uh,
I only know
yeah,
Edward
his name's
Scissorhands.
Dr. Quadpaw, and he has 4 arms, because of course.
Yep.
Although, really, if he has 4 arms and 2 legs, wouldn't that be like a sex paw? Because it's 6 paws? Like, really, we should be quad paws. We have 2 arms and 2 legs.
But can we use our legs like arms?
Well, it doesn't matter if you can or not, they're paws.
They're
Dogs have,
paws?
I mean, if we're
Like the
quad paw, like,
dogs?
yeah, well, I mean, okay. I'm using the assumption that paw equals like a extremity, like a hand or a foot.
Huh.
Because like dogs, those are paws, but they don't use them like hands. And then you got gorillas who use all 4 like hands or paws. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it. Anyway, Dr. Quadpaw with 4 arms, um, is doing surgery because I guess it must have like, man, those things looked heavy. Like he had to completely shatter his spine. Like
Yeah.
people die from way less, way quicker.
I
Brutal. It was so because it is part of just how cruel. It's again the thing that showed us so amazing. It's just like how cruel things are sometimes. Like Namek did like everything right. Like he shot his blaster. He covered people. He only moved in the battle when it was safe. He followed the plan. Like, and it was an accident that did it. Like there was no great moment of great heroic moment. No like sitting on the beach looking into the explosion. No like final great act of wisdom. It was just an accident.
Mhm.
Brutal.
Yeah.
This
And
show,
a lot
man.
of people are also just probably not going to remember this. Like, I mean, like you said, like how Cassian died, that was like a big thing, and like like they were part of this giant mission. Um, it first started with just them, but eventually the rebellion came to help, and Rogue One became pretty well known, and like what they did was very important. And what Nemec did was also very important, but he probably won't get that recognition in the rebellion, which also kind of sucks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so while he's doing the surgery, so Vel stays with him, in the tent thing with the surgery. Andor and Skeen are sitting outside, and Skeen's like, hey, how about this? We take the money and dip. Um, and Cassian's like, wait, like, what about like the cause? Like,
Your
you're a
brother.
rebel. Like, what about your brother? And Skeen's like, I don't have a brother. He lied about the brother to get Cassian to feel for him. Cassian just, wow.
Yeah.
Which I mean, especially you think Cassian, when we first see Cassian in the show, he's looking for his sister. Clearly, that's something very dear to him, even if Skeen didn't necessarily know that when he came up with that story. So it's like,
Mhm. Yeah, I also think that um I like Andor shot him before I could even think, hey, just shoot him. Like he did it without hesitation. And I mean, that's good because I honestly thought, like, oh, maybe they're just gonna, maybe Cassian, probably not. I don't know why I thought this, but like, Cassian's just gonna be like, no, forget it. And just like, that would be it. That would, like, Skeen just wouldn't do it. But it seemed like this was pretty much Skeen's goal the entire time. So, and had he not just stopped Skeen and killed him, probably would have killed Vel and Nemik. Well, Nemik's pretty much dead already, but like, you know, which is, which is good that Cassian just shot him, but then that just makes it so much worse for this man to trust anyone. Like his trust issues is already like at the lowest. And it just like went negative.
Yeah. So after he shoots him, Cassian goes into the hut with the surgery. And this is right when Nemec unfortunately dies, and Vel's, a little sad. He's like, "Thank you, doctor, for trying." And Cassian comes in with a gun.
Yeah.
And Cassian's like, he points to the doctor. He's like, "I'm gonna buy your ship for a bunch of credits." And he tells Vel what happened with Skeen. And Vel is not really ready to believe it, and he's also pointing a gun at her, so that doesn't help. And Cassian's like, I want my share of the money. I'm gonna get out. And he gives Vel the Kyber crystal necklace that Luthen gave him, and is like, give this back to Luthen. Like, I'm out. I'm done. And Vel convinces him to take Nemec's manifesto, which Nemec wanted him to have. It's very sad, but hopefully, we know Cassian's coming back to the rebellion. But hopefully this manifesto is what leads him to, if reading it is at least something, at least part of what leads him to coming back, and maybe he'll share it, and then Nemec will have recognition.
Yeah. He will always have recognition in our hearts.
Yeah, very tense. And it was like a very emotional, very tense scene. But when Cassian's like, "I'm done with this. Like, I'm not doing this," I'm like, haha, that's what you think.
We've got other plans for you, sir.
I know what you do, sir. You can't fool me. I know you've got a rebel's heart in there. Yeah, and then the final scene was powerful. So we go back to the ISB office, and that major guy he has like the room packed with everyone, and he's like, "We're all doing security plans, blah blah blah. You need to present it, blah blah blah." Like,
prevent
overdrive.
Present your way of getting rid of all of these people.
Yeah. And then we go to Mon Mothma, and she's giving a speech about trying to help the Gorman who are being blockaded, don't have the stuff that's been hinted at or mentioned in earlier episodes, and we know from Rebels it's what leads to her officially splitting from the senator position. But no one's paying attention to her, and she gets really sad until she realizes like there's news, and she like looks at a little news pop up. And we go to Luthen, and he's in his store trying to sell some stuff to people in Hannah Montana mode. And he the one guy is like, "Do you have anything from Aldani?" And Luthen's like kind of gets on edge. He's like, because scary. You might have thought he was caught. And I was like, "Oh, like, I was just kidding. Like, there's just some big rebel attack just happened there." And Luthen's like, "Oh, I might have something from Aldani in the back." And he goes in the back and just starts laughing with relief and happiness at the rebels' mission being pulled off, except he doesn't know yet what the cost is.
Yeah, a little detail. Well, it wasn't too little, but I liked when, he went to this girl, or like this woman that was looking at necklaces, and he was like, "Yeah, this necklace has like this language on it that like no one can speak anymore, no one can understand or decipher. She's like, oh, that's kind of sad. And he's like, no, like just like now you can say it's your own language, like it means whatever it means to you. And I just it's these little things that I'm like, oh my god. Because it's just like it's just such a loss of like culture. And like of course like it depends like the context of that, you know, culture in general, like depending if they just kind of died out because it's been centuries or something. But like also that just happens in a lot of cultures anyway, where they just like, you know, people take things and be like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna say it's this, I'm gonna make it mine. And it's like, or like, you know, profit off of something like that, like, oh look, it's from a different culture, but like, you know, it's yours now. It's like such a demeaning, degrading what thing. And it's like it just erases like everything from that culture, and like and then people think it just belongs to them. And it's it's a cool detail. But yeah, that was I was like, great. I it it's not really that related, but I thought there's a lot of things going around lately where um a lot of not so great people are like making Mexican culture a trend. And so you know, Mexicans are trendy right now, guys. But like they're not making it trendy just to, you know, recognize the culture. They're using it as their own thing and making it for themselves when they are not part of that culture. Like I guess, you know, um they made like Mexican core, which is supposed to be like a play off of like cottage core and like just aesthetics in general. And which is not great because, you know, cultures are not a aesthetic. um but it's taking these things and then they do you know what agua fresca is? It's like a just a fruit drink.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah, it's good. But and like there's not like there was like no need, but to make it their own cult, like to claim it like they created it, a lot of people have taken this drink and called it spa water. And it's, you know, people online are like, wait, that's just agua fresca. And they're like, no, it's my own thing that I made, it's spa water. And it's like the most awful and frustrating thing because it happens to a lot of cultures, just definitely not just Mexicans. Like even now when like Korean culture was also becoming like super trendy, and a lot of people were making like kimchi, and instead of calling kimchi they would call it something else, um instead of its actual name, which is like, you know, just taking this culture that's not yours. And I'm going on a tangent, but basically that's just the whole thing, the vibes it gave me, and like the whole like just that loss of that culture and being able to understand that necklace, which I'm sure it says something great on it. But you know, we'll never know. Obviously, probably not Luthen's fault, but like, which is why it's like, I mean, if he wants to make a money off of these rich people, like that's the best way to do it, is to be like, well, no, this is for you. This is like your own thing now. Like it's your own little secret, your own meaning. Um, so that's how you get them, I guess. That's how you get the dough. But
Trying to make a
yeah, it's
sale.
a yeah, especially for the rebellion. But it's like it can be super frustrating. And like I don't know, I thought it was a cool detail that they put in there. And I also just liked the mention of like, hey, you got anything from Aldani? Yeah, something just happened there. Like obviously I think it was just a joke, but like it's so
Yeah, well, the guy said, he's like, oh,
strange.
when he goes to the back, he's like, oh, I was just kidding. I was just saying.
Yeah, it's like I'm just kidding. But like, you know, like things Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like things like that just happen anyway, where like something really big happens, people want to know what happened. People want to be able to have something that reminds them of that, like depending on the event, of course. But I thought that was also kind of funny, especially when he was like, "Hey, I'm joking." And then, like Luthen just goes in the back and starts laughing really, really hard. Um,
It was
does
a
he have
very
any?
joyous laugh. I don't think we've ever
Yeah,
seen, because I think we're used to him having a bit of a like more jovial personality when he's in Hannah Montana form. But this was
but it was a
not that.
genuine
This was
laugh.
just him being happy. And I was like, oh, I wonder how you're gonna feel when you find out they all died except Velcinta and Cassian, and Cassian ran away.
Yeah, like I don't think he'll be able to find Cassian after that either. Like,
I think Cassian
um,
will have to find him.
yeah, which will be
I mean,
interesting.
he did find Cassian the first time, so
Yeah, I mean, he was like my dad said, he was living there. Like,
yeah.
I made the same argument, and then my dad was like, he was living there, and I was like, yeah, you're right. But also,
Mm,
like Cassian could go back too, very much so, like
yeah.
to see them, but also that place is now overrun by Imperials, which also
Mhm.
sucks.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where the series goes from here. How Cassian comes back to Rebellion. Uh, see what more of what Mon Mothma's up to. There's so much more, and I'm so excited for the rest
Yeah,
of the season and then next season.
whoever Mon Mothma is going to bring, I'm still really excited to know.
I think it's Saw. I
I still
guarantee
think
it's.
it's Saw too.
I really think it's Saw. We're getting Saw still this season, actually. So I know Tony Gilroy said. So he said the first he considers like episodes 1 through 3 and 4 through 6 were each little arcs. He said episode 7 is a bit more independent, and then 8, 9, 10 are another arc, and then 11, 12 is finale. We're excited to see how it plays out.
Yes. I'm hoping it's Saw still. I'm like on the hill. I won't
I mean,
die.
we know we're
Um,
getting Saw either way.
yeah. So
I
we're gonna
feel
see
like
him
it being
anyway.
Saw is just okay, it's just gonna add to drama, and I love the drama.
Yes.
But um, otherwise, either we get Saw, we get a new character, which is always fun, or we get a character we know in a new show, which is also fun. So we'll see how it goes. Still think it's Saw.
Yes. Um, yeah. Very excited for
We
the
also
next
need to
episode.
mention we see Cinta walking out of the Imperial base into the crowd and watching them fly
Yes.
away.
I hope they
Vel
I
better
mean, I
go back
know,
for her.
yeah.
Go back for her, Vel.
I'm like hoping.
If she didn't kill that family, she cannot stay on that planet.
Yeah. Um, yeah, hopefully that happens because yeah, otherwise she would definitely have to go back and just like shoot the family, and then she'll be fine to hopefully do that. Hopefully there's no cams, but
I'm sure they don't. I'm
the
sure they follow
whole
that.
Among Us situation again.
Yeah. I mean, because honestly, if it wasn't for their communication getting intercepted, their plan was good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It went. I didn't realize how much credits like they like it's not like dollars, like I'm sure like dollars are heavy eventually, but like credits are like metal. Like they're
Yeah,
heavy
it's
no
like
matter
if you
what.
had a ton of coins, except credits seem to be bigger than like our coins. So it's even like, yeah,
Yeah,
they got lots of them now.
they do. I don't
So,
think they got as much as they were trying to get though, right? Like they
I mean, there were
definitely.
definitely a lot left in the vault, but also like even before the troops showed up, they were like, all right, we gotta go. Like, so they definitely weren't planning on taking everything from the vault. Um, they also
Yeah.
definitely didn't get as much as they maybe had planned because like they did drop that one, and the troops did come show up. But I would say they probably got a good bit of a good majority of what they wanted.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Cassian's share was at least 30,000 to buy that guy's ship, so
Yeah.
they must have gotten a good bit.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I'm just sad because now he's just like very much like a puppy that's been hit so much. That's like now like you raise your hand a little bit and he like, he doesn't trust anyone. It's sad.
You know what he needs? He needs a big sarcastic droid voiced by Alan Tudyk.
And Chilaquiles.
Yeah, he needs anti-Chilaquiles, I think.
I think he would be pro Chilaquiles.
I don't know why they were called anti. It still makes no sense.
My mom also doesn't understand it.
I was hoping you would have the answers.
I
You're the culinary expert.
Not because I'm Mexican.
No,
Or los dos.
cooking school. Right, both.
Both of them. That's fair. I need to. Chilaquiles are so good. I never have like there's so much Mexican food that I want to make, but it's like I need this certain pepper and like it's dried pepper and like I need to go to the actual grocery store that's a Mexican grocery store that's like downtown. It's a whole thing because Stop and Shop is like right up the road. Like I could walk there. It's a whole thing. So I need to.
There's definitely, I've noticed
up.
here in California, there's definitely a wider food selection at grocery stores.
Yeah, that's why I am going back to California because I miss it. But yeah. Yeah. I still need a scene of Andor cooking chilaquiles by himself, maybe. Or like maybe he's making it for Bix or something. And for his mama.
Yeah.
I think
hope he finds his sister. That would be crazy. What if Mon Mothma's person is his sister?
What if what?
What if Mon Mothma's person is his sister?
I feel like it's a little far-fetched, but it would be
it
cool.
Totally is.
Okay.
I
don't want to shoot you down, but
no, I'm not on that hill. I'm just looking at it and admiring it.
Heard, yeah.
I'm still pretty firmly on the Saw Gerrera hill. Yeah. So we have another Andor tonight. Actually, I'm gonna stay up and watch it tonight. Woohoo! And then next week we have another Andor and Tales of the Jedi, which I'm so hyped for. Gonna get to see my Ahsoka again. So excited. And it's gonna be animated. I'm so hyped. And Yaddle's in it. We love Yaddle. So
when
good.
did people start liking Yaddle?
Yaddle's always been a queen. We just don't get Yaddle content. But now we're getting Yaddle content.
Gotcha.
Okay. Talk about her. And that cool Inquisitor that looks like Reaper from Overwatch is gonna be in it.
I don't know who that is, but I
don't think she's gonna be in it, but I hope Caden Larte. That's my dream. Caden Larte. I'm so excited. Qui-Gon's there. Anakin's there. Mullet Obi-Wan. It'll be great. So okay. First we have more Andor. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
So we're recording another podcast in an hour and a half, so I'm gonna go eat something very quickly. So yeah, so thank you for listening. Make sure you follow Star Wars Geek Girl on Facebook. It's just Star Wars Geek Girl, and Twitter and Instagram at SW Geek Girl. And StarWarsGeekGirl.com. We have a poll every month. Quizzes on Wednesdays, blog articles on Fridays. I try to do book reviews on Mondays. I'm trying. I have one like half written. I just read Princess and the Scoundrel. I have the review like half written. I just got a lot going on. And then I'm reading Path of Deceit next. And then I think another book comes out next week. or the week after. There's another book coming out at some point that I'm gonna have to read. Yeah, Quest of the Jedi. Oh, Quest of the Jedi comes out tomorrow. So I'm gonna read that. And then maybe I'll start reading some comics. Finally.
Yay. Comics are cool.
They are. I'm very excited to read them. I've read Kanan. The whole Kanan series. And I read the first part of the Chewbacca series because I did a costume of the girl from that series. But I did, oh, and you know what? I read the one about how C-3PO got his red arm.
Yeah,
That was
same.
kind of
I
fun.
also read that.
Yeah. So look for a review of Princess and the Scoundrel coming soon. It was so good. Han and Leia's wedding. Beautiful. Amazing. Top tier. And it was kind of, Andor really put it into perspective because Mon Mothma was like really into it. She's like, oh, I'm gonna plan you guys a really nice wedding. And she like did a lot of the wedding planning and she's like planning, like she's like, I really want you guys to enjoy yourself and have a nice honeymoon. And now after watching Andor, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's probably so invested in them because she had a stupid arranged marriage to a jerk. And that's why she wants to make sure Leia has a nice time.
Yeah.
It's sad. Oh yeah, Princess and the Scoundrel really good. If you like Star Wars romance books, awesome. If you like Return of the Jedi, definitely recommend. Great book. Also, Beth Revis is awesome. She wrote Rebel Rising, which is like amazing. And she wrote this one too, which is great. Yeah. Do you want to do the Rouge Rebels?
Rouge Rebels. Yeah, for the Rogue Rebels, you can go on theroguerebels.com, Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels Podcast, wherever you're listening to Star Wars Geek Girl, Facebook page, the Rogue Rebels, Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam. If you want to go on my Twitter, I've been posting more arts on there for fun because I think people need to draw Andor more. But it's just Rogue Rebels Sabine, but Sabine is not INE, it's bean, like a bean, like a pinto bean. Yeah.
What kind of bean is the bean?
I'll get back to you on that because there's a lot of beans.
Okay.
I don't want to say just a pinto bean. Pinto bean is basic. I need a bean that's like beautiful, like different colors if possible, or just a cool color in general. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. If you want to follow my personal stuff on Twitter, I'm at Zoeka, AHZOEKA. I actually don't tweet that much about Star Wars, to be honest. Right now, it's a lot of Critical Role and Percy Jackson and a little Overwatch. But I'm there. And then I'm at Spectre_5 written out, not the number, on Instagram and TikTok. But I don't post very much on those. But I do post more Star Wars on those. So
I just post.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much. Check out all of the things. Let us know what you thought about Andor on social medias. Yeah. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
Thank you so much for listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.